And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, reaction to this. Joining us from Washington, Fox News analyst Newt Gingrich, who is the host of a new documentary, you can get it on DVD, called Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny. Is it just that the Europeans are scared? Is that what it is all about?
Well, look, I think that the Europeans have had some 65 years of sheltering behind the United States. We provided the muscle for NATO. We were prepared to defend them from the Soviet Union. We ended up being involved in conflicts around the world. And largely, they've been able to live in a nice, pleasant dream world where there were no threats, there were no difficulties. And in the process, you've had a secular decay of European society so that there's not much they would defend. If you notice the rise of militant Islam inside the European countries, there's no natural basis for a secular, aging, prosperous Europe to defend itself from anything, either at home or abroad. But in addition, my fear is that, and I think I probably disagree with you on this, Bill, I think President Obama is actually in many ways a pan-European in his thinking about the world. He promised yesterday, for example, that we would take strong measures at the UN about the North Korean missile firing. The fact is the UN meeting yesterday was a joke. The Chinese and the Russians refused even to consider the missile firing a problem. Nothing will be accomplished. And the North Koreans, like the Iranians, will move forward with their efforts to get nuclear weapons and missiles as delivery systems.
Okay. But you don't believe Barack Obama doesn't understand the Europeans being cowardly in the face of worldwide terrorism. He's got to get that, right?
No, I don't think he has to get anything.
But it's
look.
Germany won't fight at all. Germany won't put one guy and attack the Taliban. And you're telling me that Barack Obama doesn't get that, doesn't understand that these are only allies in name, not in deed?
Well, remember,
he's got to understand that.
Remember, half the people who helped him in the primaries wouldn't have anybody in Afghanistan or Iraq or anywhere else. I mean, there's a pretty strong anti-war movement in the Democratic Party left.
Just because they helped him doesn't mean he buys into the madness that they espouse. But see, this is what I don't understand. If you have a president, and on Friday, I don't know whether you saw the program, but I said, look, I understand Barack Obama going over humble. I get it. You know, he wants people to help the United States. He wants to convince them that we're not arrogant, that we will consult with them. And that's a good thing for all of us. It may tee us off because we don't like to see humble pie abroad. That's an American tradition. But it's not dumb to do that. But now we reach a level where there is no justification for for Germany's Chancellor, Merkel, to basically look them in the eye and go, we're not going to help you in Afghanistan. We're not going to help. You know, if they do that to me, then I said, well, you know, Ms. Chancellor, we're going to have to take action and pull our guys out of Germany or some kind of a thing that's unacceptable. But I don't think we're going to get that from President Obama.
Look, Bill, I think where you and I disagree is, you know, if you had a teenager and they kept running out of gas because they couldn't figure out that E meant empty, and so after about 6 times in a row you pick them up with the car sitting on the side of the road, at some point you'd hope the teenager would learn that E means empty. Now, the fact is the State Department cannot learn, after 30 years of trying to deal with the Iranian dictatorship, after 20 years of trying to deal with the North Korean dictatorship, after years of trying to get the UN to do something good, after years of trying to get the Europeans to do something good, we keep coming back with this naive view that somehow if we smile at them, if we say nice things to them, if we bow to the Saudi king, which the president did, which I thought was frankly not very good when President Bush did it, and I don't think it's very good when President Obama does it. I don't think Americans ought to bow to kings.
Well, President Bush kissed the guy. Didn't he kiss him or something? It kind of grossed me out.
Something like that. Yeah. You know, I think that's a sign of why you need a strong national energy policy, frankly.
The Richard Holbrooks of the world, he's now our guy in Pakistan, a very smart man. He will tell you, look, what's our alternative? We can't confront the whole world. We can't beat North Korea and Iran and the Taliban and Al-Qaeda all by ourselves. So we have to deal with our flawed allies. We understand they're cowardly, selfish, their societies, as you had put it, have eroded. We got it. but we can't take them all on. And if we tee off the entire world, as President Bush almost did, it's self-defeating for us. So how do you answer that?
Well, I'd recommend to pick up on your earlier plug for the movie Clifton I did. I'd say watch the movie Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny. You saw Ronald Reagan take over a total shambles after Jimmy Carter had 4 years of weakness. You see in a matter of weeks Reagan showing strength. And Reagan said to our allies, look, I'm going to get up every morning and do the right thing, and I'm going to try to carry you with me as far as I can. But I'm not going to do the wrong thing to make you feel good. And he had very tough fights. And we tend to forget how hard some of those conflicts were. But at the end of that period, the Soviet Union disappeared.
Okay,
now,
but we did that. You see, we did that, Mr. Speaker.
Right.
West Germany and France didn't do that. Belgium didn't do it. The Netherlands didn't do it. They stayed, as you pointed out in the beginning of our conversation, pretty much on the sidelines. We did it. But now...
We had two allies.
But now, instead of one... Go ahead. We had two allies.
Margaret Thatcher in Great Britain and Pope John Paul II in the Vatican. And those two, plus the United States, were more than enough.
Right. But now we have enemies all over the place. It's not just Russia. Mr. Speaker, always a pleasure, and I want everybody to get the DVD Ronald Reagan Rendezvous with Destiny.